Good evening, good afternoon, fellow colleagues. My name is Mr. Z. I teach at Corona High School and I am a digital fellow. I am here today to show you how to make some music using your Chromebooks, using your students' Chromebooks. This is a website called Turtle.Audio, and I've used this with students between the grades of 3rd through 12th, and they were all able to complete this task. I'm going to show you what I made as an example by hitting play at the bottom here. All right, so that's fun. One way that I engage my students in this activity is to tell them that they're making video game music, and they get absolutely excited. The technology underneath this website is the Python programming language. I'm an art teacher. I'm a media arts teacher. So I teach things like Photoshop. I'm qualified to teach things like visual arts, but I have found that this website is so easy to use that I feel like a genius in making music. So I'm not a musician. Well, I play music, but I can't read music. This is a fun way to kind of groove out while you are at school and wanting to make something creative. I'm going to click here on this tab. This shows you these three turtles racing. So traditionally, when students learn how to use the Python programming language, they often begin by doing some kind of turtle movement where they program a turtle to move in a certain way. This is like a race that you can program, I guess. I've never done anything like this. I've only used Turtle.Audio. So let's begin. I have a link in the description here to get to the template that I'm using for this. If you do not use a template, you start with kind of a blank screen, but I find that this template works great. It's bit.ly.com/turtleface. So I'm going to go there. And it's Friday at 3:15. I just taught 3 classes of freshmen, and so I hope that I am coherent here in my description. I also hope that I keep this as short as possible for you. To begin, we are going to create a boots and cats style beat. Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats. You might have heard of this. Your students have heard of this. So that's a good thing. We're going to begin by using the white arrow to click on the left eyeball of our turtle. Ha! You'll notice that under the sound tab, this is classified as a drum. I'm going to hit play. And you notice that when this turtle hits this red note, it triggers a sound that sounds like a drum. Okay. So to begin, I'm going to need to program more drum beats. To do that, I'm going to go into the Paint tab. This is supposed to be a musical keyboard, but when you have a drum set, it plays different samples. I'm going to choose this first hollow red circle. It's called House Kick 1. And I'm going to paint this on every corner. And if you have done this successfully, you have created a 4 on the floor style beat. And when you hear something like this, all of a sudden I lose control of my hands and I want to start clapping. And what do you mean by that, Mr. Z? Okay. So I do a little clap thing. So let's program a clap. Let's do that on this right eye. There goes my voice. Feeling it going. So we're going to add a clap to 2 corners here. I'm going to go back to my Paint tab, and we'll explain the differences between the 2 tabs later. Paint. I'm going to find a clap, House Clap 1. And I'm going to paint that clap every other corner, specifically this one and this one. Excuse me, some water. Awesome. So we have a boot, a cat, but we don't have boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats. To do that, we need to place a sample of a hat, a hi-hat, between the beats. Going to hover over these until I find something called hat. House hat 1. It's this hollow green one. I'm going to place these, let's do it between these kicks. Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats. Okay, awesome. So we have the drum beat. I'm essentially done programming drums. There's a lot of other stuff you can add from here. This is kind of the rule. And after this, students can do whatever they want. But man, if you can teach them to program this boots and cats beat, you can get them to notice in music that every song has this boots and cats. We can show you all the music videos in another video. Okay. But just as an example, I'll put a hit, E hit, into some random spots. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. I'm actually going to keep that. A few sound options we have when we're working with drums. If we go to my white arrow, and I'll select a line. So different eyes. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Here's my left eye, my right eye. This reminds me of those like Christmas, those drum cylinder things that you twist, and as the drum goes, there's little grooves in it, and then you have the things that trigger it. You can tell I'm not a musician. I don't know any of the terms, but this is boots and cats. Okay, now with the mouth, we're going to make a bass line. The mouth is different. When I have the right eye selected, it's a drum. If I click on the mouth, it's a synth. Before I even explain anything, I need to lay some notes down. So I'm going to go to paint. I should say paint some notes. And I'll start with C notes. Notice if I click on the note, it deletes. Awesome. So I like this, but I would like this to be a bass line. The octave is kind of high, so I'm going to go down to the sound tab, and now we have all these controls. I'm going to turn the volume down first of all. I'm going to turn the octave down. I'm going to turn the decay down. This is D for decay. Notice it gets shorter. If I go a longer decay, if I do a longer A for attack, it sounds like a violin. Okay. I'm just going to keep this there. There's different oscillators. We'll talk about this next. I programmed a kick, a hi-hat, a hand clap. I'll turn my octave down. Okay, that's a bass. And now I have this line. This is also a synth. Just like the bass line, I'm going to begin by laying down some C notes. Go to paint. Find the first C4 note and just that kind of, sorry. Ooh, okay. Octave. Let's go back to sound. I'll turn the octave down just a little bit. But we have like a bass line and a melody. Okay. So all the same notes. I'm now going to try a different oscillator to see how the waveform sounds. Waveforms, sine waves. Are you a math teacher? Square waves, triangle waves, saw waves? I'm an art teacher. Hello. Are you a geometry teacher? Look, squares. Also notice that each of these things are 4 beats long or steps long. Everything is divisible by 4 here. So a lot of math and programming concepts. I'm going to go back to paint and paint some more notes in. From C, I'm going to try F notes. And just randomly apply them. And your students should have headphones on. I'll add a G note. I actually encourage my students to open up another tab and play a video game and see if this works with the video game. Let's pick some lower G notes. And again, I haven't made a video in a while. We're not in the pandemic anymore. Well, we're live. We're not hybrid anymore. And these need to be changed a little bit. It's kind of hard to talk, make a video, teach, and do something coherent at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the one I made earlier because I like that one better. Let's listen to this. Okay, so notice I'm using a different oscillator, a triangle. It's a square, a saw. Attack, decay, sustain, and release. You make the notes ring out for longer. Notice that's different than the decay. You can cut off certain frequencies by either going down or up. And then there's always a mixer where you can change the volume. One thing you will not hear is the panning. But you can change panning per track, so we can switch between these different lines. Okay, so I'm going to stop. We're ready now to record this. I've been going for too long, I think. Let's check. Yep, 12 minutes. To record, I'm going to hit the record button. That's a circle for all y'all millennials. Notice this is counting the steps, the length of the longest line, which is 64 steps. This is actually 4 bars of music. Are you a music teacher? Would you like to show your students the visual equivalent of bars and beats? Each square is a step. Here, each line on this I is a beat. This whole eyeball is a bar or a measure. And this big melody is 4 bars or 4 measures. Please let me know if I'm not getting any of my vocabulary correct. Just notice that I could do things like click on a line and turn the volume down. And notice it turned that bass line off. Okay, I'm going to go to my face. Turn this volume down. It is recording all of these movements. I'm going to hit stop. And when you hit stop, it will ask you to save a WAV file into your downloads folder. That is it. I have students turn things in via Google Drive. This works great in Google Drive. Man, there's so many things you can do with this. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry that this went so long. I tried to keep it under 10, but I kept it under 15 instead. So have a great weekend, and I will see you next month.